Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here. It's regarding the 4-game CSGO main slate on Thursday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports slates, esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one, Counter-Strike CSGO. Also, I just want to say again, thank you guys for all the support. We're at 3.38 thousand subscribers. So if you guys enjoy this content, if you could take 2 seconds out of your day, hit that like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, would appreciate if you leave a 5-star rating and review as I continue to grow that, as well as the YouTube channel. If you guys are interested in PGA content, we have a Millionaire Maker tomorrow morning. I do have a video already up for the Travelers Championship. If you guys are interested, you can check out my video that I uploaded a couple days ago. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So before we get into players and the prices, let me actually go to the CSGO slate. I was looking at some golf just now. But yeah, let me go to this slate. The contest size has been good here for Draftkings. $12, $15K to first. That's really, really solid. But let's take a look at my lineup here from Wednesday. So Wednesday was pretty good day for me. Cash in both my GPPs, in the smaller one and obviously in the $33 one. Didn't go crazy, but had a decent day, right? Profited. Won Zywoo in the captain spot. Again, he was just the best play of the day in cash games, the safest play. They ended up absolutely crushing, winning 2-0, but still he put up a pretty good day there in the captain spot. RPK, again, him and Shocks are my other two plays. RPK had a really, really good day for his price at only 6K, 84 fantasy points. Again, Vitality just blew him out of the water. RPK went 37 and 14. And then I went with a 2-man 100 Thieves stack. My two favorite there with JKS and Jakeem. Both are pretty good. I guess the one frustrating thing about 100 Thieves they are a little bit more of a balanced team. So it is a little bit tougher to predict who's going to have the good game day in and day out. I think it was Lias that actually had the best day, and then it was followed by these two in JKS and Jakeem. On the Team Liquid side, again, with Elige and Twist. Mentioned Elige being one of my favorite plays. They ended up winning 2-0. Twist was solid. Not great for his price, right? 34 and 33, 48 fancy points in a 2-0 sweep. Okay, maybe expected a little bit more. But all in all, cashed again. All three of the teams I played won, so it was a pretty solid day. Hope you guys had a good day as well. But all right, let's take a look at some odds for the slates. We have FaZe and Big. Big are minus 135 favorites. We have Heretics and OG. This one's basically pick 'em as well. OG minus 130 favorites. Then we have Furia and EG. Again, same thing. Furia, slight favorites at minus 135. And GenG and Cloud9. Cloud9, slight favorites at minus 135. So all 4 of these games are basically pick 'em. So it makes a really interesting slate. I think ownership will be kind of spread out in this one because I really think you can make an argument for any of these 8 teams on the slate. So I think that is going to spread out the ownership, and I think it makes for a good slate, right? I don't think it's going to be too chalky. But yeah, let's talk about the first game here. So Big versus FaZe. This is where I think you will get some pretty popular plays, and they're going to be on the Big side. Big have been absolutely on fire recently. They have dominated FaZe the last 2 times they've played, winning 2-0 fashion easily in both. If you look at these games, right, 16-9, 16-5, 16-4, and then that one was close 22-19. So you got to give the edge to Big if you're just looking at the numbers, right, and how well they played, right? They've won the last 5 games. It'd be complexity. Spirit G2, whereas FaZe have only won 2 of the last 5 games. So FaZe kind of limping into this. Big have been on fire. Big have dominated FaZe, recently. So all those things, add up to Big is going to be a lot more popular in my opinion. If you just look at the odds, though, again, I think this one is somewhat even. But let's just talk about the Big side first. So this is a team, again, I think will be very popular, especially Xantarez at 6.8K. I think he's going to be one of the more popular plays of the day. I think he does stand out. Or I think he's too cheap. I mentioned him as being my favorite play on the big side last time. He went off an insane score. He went crazy. His numbers 0.78 kills per round, 0.67 deaths per round. Searson at 0.77 and 0.57, and Tabson at 0.75 and 0.64. So, yeah, Xantras, you could argue, has the best numbers on this team, and he's at 6.8K, whereas Searson's at 8.6K. So that's why I think Xantras is going to be one of the most popular plays of the day. He does look really good. Tabson and Searson at 7.6 and 8.6K respectively. Those guys are close. I think I would slightly prefer Tabson to Searson for the $1,000 difference, but again, that one's close. I think all three are going to garner some ownership. And again, I think this big side will be popular because of the recent play and because of their recent performance against FaZe. Now, the other guys with Taizan and Keto, sorry, allergies have been killing me, guys. Two guys at the bottom, I don't have a whole lot of interest in those two. They can have decent games, but Taizan 0.62 and 0.59. Keto at 0.65 and 0.63. So both are slightly positive, which isn't bad, right? 5.8 and 6.4K respectively. Again, Big has just been playing really, really well. But I don't know if I want to, when you have Xantras for $400 more or $1,000 more, I would just much prefer getting to him. So let's talk about the FaZe side now. We have Nico at 9.4, Brokey at 7.2, and Cold at 6.6K. So once again, my favorite plays on FaZe are Nico. I think he's going to go low on this slate. I really do. And that's why I think this FaZe side is interesting, right? Anytime you can get a low-owned Nico, that's always a great thing in GPPs, right? Because Nico has enormous upside. You could argue he has the biggest upside of anyone on this slate. He can definitely put up over 100. When he's playing really well, he can put this team on his back. So I have interest in Nico. Again, I think he's going to be contrarian because the big guys are just going to be a lot more popular. So people are not going to want to play players on both sides. Again, they're just going to go to the big side. So this Nico play, I like a lot for GPPs. Brokey and Cold, I much prefer Cold for, $600 less. Cold has better overall numbers. Again, I've said this a lot, but I think he is the second best player on this team. 0.7 kills per round, 0.62 deaths per round, whereas Brokey's at 0.65 and 0.57. Now, Brokey has been playing decent of late. Again, he uses the AWP, but I just prefer getting to Cold when he has better numbers and he's $600 cheaper. Rain's a guy that I'll probably be staying away from at 6.4. It just doesn't make sense to get to Rain. We can get to Cold for $200 more. And then Beam as a 5.4K is always a tough one. I think he's a viable GPP dart throw. He's been up and down, but he has had games where he's carried this FaZe team. So when he's playing well, he can really carry this roster. But again, he's been very up and down. So if you get him on his bad day, he does have a pretty low floor. So all in all, in this game, again, I think the popular way, a lot of the ownership is going to go on the big side. I think they do look better plays, but sometimes you kind of just got to go with your gut, and my gut is telling me to go with FaZe. So I'm liking the FaZe side a lot personally. I know that's more of a contrarian take, but that's probably the way that I'm going to go for this one. I think I do like the FaZe side a little bit more. Now, again, I think the popular approach, I think a lot of people will go big, and I think they do look really good for their prices. But sometimes you kind of just got to go with your gut on these things, and I think I like FaZe to bounce back. I know they've been killed the last couple times against big, but I just think that's going to really lower the ownership, and anytime you get a low-owned Nico, low-owned Cold Zera, I'm going to take advantage of that. Next, let's talk about OG and Heretics. Again, this one's basically pick 'em. OG slate favorites here at -130. I disagree with that. I think Heretics are the much better team in my opinion. So let's talk about the OG side first. OG is a team that's been really struggling. Now they have won, I think, the last couple games, but not against the best competition. Before that, swept by NIP, lost to Complexity, and even before that, right, they're on a big losing streak. I think the guy that I have some interest in is Mant2, right? He's been playing really well of late. He's been the guy that can carry this roster, but he's coming in at a price of 9K. I think that makes him a contrarian play, definitely. So yeah, not someone I would look to for cash games. I think he makes for an interesting GPP play. The other options on this team, I don't really think I want to get to anyone. Again, I just like the Heretics side a lot more. So I think it would only be Mant2 as a one-off if I was considering it, but I don't like it. I like the Heretics side, again, a lot more. So let's talk about this Heretics side. We haven't seen this team in a while on a Draftkings slate. They've been in relatively good form before that loss against Saw, have won the last 4 games. Now, again, you could argue not against the best competition. Heretics did play OG recently. They won 2-0. I just think they're the more talented team. The top 3 guys, I really like in Maka, Lucky, and Navarra. Let's take a look at their prices, right? So we have Maka at 10.2K. Now, he's had games, if you look at his DraftKings log, where he's went absolutely nuts, right? Like almost 4 straight 100 fantasy point games against good teams. Ends, Complexity, Dignitas is all right, but they've been struggling, obviously. Put up 106 against North. He really does have the upside when he's playing well to put up a massive game. Now, you are going to have to pay a premium for him. So on this slate, there's so many good plays in the low 9K range, mid 8K range, 7K range that if you play a guy like Maka, you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. You're going to have to play a cheap play. I think it is doable, but again, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit to get him in there. I think I'd much prefer Navarro for almost $3,000 difference, I should say. If you look at their numbers the last 3 months, they're identical. Maka 0.75 and 0.61, Navarro 0.75 and 0.61. You get him at a 3K discount. So he really stands out to me as one of the best plays on the slate at that price. Love Navarro. Again, I think he is one of my favorite plays. I think Lucky is viable as well at 7K. Now, he doesn't have as good of numbers, but again, those three guys do really carry this roster. Lucky coming in at 0.71 and 0.63, so I think he's a viable cheap play as well. Kiyoshima and XMS are basically stayaways for me. I know Kiyoshima has been okay recently, but I just like those top 3 guys a lot, and that's where we get the production from most of the time. So I think I'd rank my plays here for the prices. Probably Navarro 1, Lucky 2, Maka 3. I still think Maka's in play, and you're just going to have to sacrifice a little bit. I think that price tag will lower his ownership, but if you get a game where he plays well, which is a lot of the time, he can put up over 100 easily. So I think he makes for a good GPP play for sure at that price point. Next, let's talk about Furia and EG. So this is another game where I think I might go a little bit contrarian. Furia are slight favorites, but EG have really been dominating the series. EG have won 17-4 in head-to-head games. They've been in better form than Furia. I don't know. I feel like Furia is still one of the best teams, if not the best team in CSGO right now. So I'm going to give the edge to Furia personally. But yeah, this one, again, really, if you just look at the odds, it can go either way. Let's look at the prices for these guys. So let's start on the Furia side. We have Caserado 8.2, Henny at 7.8, and Yuri at 7.4K. Those 3, again, we know where the production is coming. It's from those top 3 guys. All 3 have very good numbers. Yuri at 0.75 and 0.61 as far as kills per round, deaths per round. Henny with the sniper with the op 0.7 and 0.56, and then Caserado 0.72 and 0.56. So again, all 3 pretty similar. I think for their prices, I think Yuri does look the best now. You get about $1,000 difference with him and Caserado at 7.4K. With Caserado and Henny, again, I think Henny will be slightly more popular because he's $400 cheaper, but all 3 are certainly in play. I guess for their prices, it probably would rank them Yuri, Henny, and Caserado, but I still like Caserado. Again, I think that his price will lower his ownership a little bit compared to his teammates, right? And then Art and Vinny. Vinny's basically a stay away from me unless you think they win 2-0. And when all 4 games are again, almost pick'ems, it's hard for me to get out any of those really cheap guys. Because that's what you go for, right? When you play those cheap guys, you're really hoping for the 2-0. All 4 of these games are basically pick'ems. So there's not a whole lot of guys like below like 6.5K that I'm really interested in on the slate because there's so many good plays in the mid tier, in my opinion. So Vinny, probably you'll stay away. Art actually has flashed some upside here recently for this team. He's a very aggressive player, but still, I don't see myself getting to him at that price. I could see you make an argument for him. 0.68 kills per round, 0.74 deaths per round. So he's a guy that's in a lot of gunfights. He always seems to be the one initiating the gunfights, but yeah, I just prefer the other 3 guys on the Furia roster. Next, let's talk about the EG side. So I think this team will garner some ownership for sure. Again, they've dominated Furia recently. The price tags look a little bit better. So you have Cirque at 7.2, Breeze at 7K. Cirque's been in really good form with the op. He's playing some of his best Counter-Strike I've seen. So I think he stands out as a really solid play at 7.2K. Breeze has still slightly better numbers the last 3 months. These are the 2 guys where they're the best 2 players on this team. And at their respective prices on this slate, I think they look pretty good. So if you want to go the EG route, obviously the prices look a little bit better than the Furia side. I'm just, again, kind of going with my gut. I think Furia is still the better team, even though they haven't fared against them well recently. So I kind of like the Furia side a little bit better. Ethan is definitely the number 3 in this team. He has had games where he's taken over, but when he's so close to Breeze and Cirque and Price, it doesn't make sense for me to get him unless you're trying to get very contrarian, which then I could understand it, right? If you go with the EG stack and say you want to go 2-man stack, instead, everyone who plays EG are probably going to go Cirque Breeze, so maybe get a little bit different and go Ethan instead of one of those other 2 guys. I could see doing that for GPPs. Tariq, Stanislaw, at their respective prices are probably stayaways. Normally, guys I would consider if I think they can win this 2-0, but again, I like the Furia side a little bit better. And in general, there's just not a whole lot of cheap plays I'm super interested in because all these games should stay close, right? So, lastly, let's talk about the C9 and GenG side. Again, this one's basically pick 'em. C9 minus 135 favorites. I like the C9 side. I know I'm kind of a homer, but they're just a team I basically play almost every single slate. Rarely let me down. So let's talk about the C9 side. They have also dominated this series against GenG. 7-3. Well, that's not dominated, but they've fared well recently against GenG. GenG's kind of been limping into this tournament, right? Lost the last 3 games, all in 0-2 fashion against Furia, EG, and Liquid. Now, yeah, those are good teams, but getting swept by the last 3 teams is not great. Whereas Cloud9 has won 3 of the last 4. They did beat a solid MIBR team. So I think you could argue, again, Cloud9 in better form. They've played well against GenG recently. So I like the Cloud9 side a little bit better here. We have OC at 8.8, Floppy at 8.4K. So OC the last slate really took over. Like, he had an enormous game. I think he had like over 100. And now, for some reason, DraftKings doesn't update these score lines, which is really frustrating. The last game they have on here is 6-12. But yeah, OC had the big game last time they were out here. Now his price is over Floppy. Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to Floppy there at 8.4K for a $400 difference. Again, I think he is the better player on this team, or the best player on this team. Both are pretty similar plays. Floppy 0.75 and 0.67 as far as kills per round, deaths per round. OC with the AWP 0.72 and 0.62. So again, pretty similar. I'm just going to give the edge to Floppy. I think he's flashed more upside, historically in the last few months that CSGO has been going on here. JT is basically a stay away from me at that price. Again, I'm not really looking to any of those cheap options, but Sonic and MOTM are interesting to me both at 6.8K. Again, I've mentioned this a lot, but it always seems that one of those guys has a really good game, whether it be MOTM or Sonic. Normally, I give the edge to MOTM. He's more the aggressive player. He always seems to be one initiating gunfights in this team, whereas Sonic kind of plays a little bit more passive. Again, we'll use the second op when Cloud9 does use a 2-op setup. Both have flash upside. Again, I think I slightly prefer MOTM at almost identical prices, but I don't mind getting to one of those guys if you want to go C9 and pair one of those top guys with someone in the 6.8. I guess Sonic is $200 more than MOTM. Sorry, I've been staring at a screen all day long. So yeah, I think I slightly give the edge there to MOTM over Sonic, but it is close. And now let's talk about the GenG side. So this is a team I have very little interest in. Again, I think C9 will win this one. GenG have been struggling recently, but the price tags look okay. These guys. So you have Automatic at 7.2, Kusta at 7K, Ben 10 at 6.8. Those are the top 3 I have interest in. Sam, Daps are kind of stayaways for me. I know Sam's been a little bit up and down, can have good games, but it's those top 3 guys if I was going to consider GenG. I think Kusta's been the guy that's in the best form now. This GenG team just in general have been struggling, right? Kusta now negative, slightly KD, Automatic slightly positive, Ben 10 slightly positive. So their team, just KD in general, been going down because of recent form. But I think Kusta has been playing the best recently for this team. So he would probably be the guy I would look to the most. I think I would rank him Kusta, Ben 10, Automatic if I had to. But personally, again, I'm going to go the C9 side. I think C9 does win this one. So let's talk about this slate, and let's talk about cash game play. So cash game's tricky on the slate. With all 4 games that are basically pick'ems, it's really interesting. But I think if you're playing the cash game format, I think the big side does look better than the phase side. So again, Xantrez, he's one of the better cash game plays of the slate, in my opinion, at that price. Also like Tapson, Searson viable as well. On the phase side, maybe not so much cash game plays, right? Because they've been struggling recently. Big have dominated. It's kind of just a gut feeling for me. I do think FaZe bounce back, so that's why I'm going to go FaZe for my GBP lineup. OG and Heretics. I like the Heretics side a lot more. I know OG, I think, are slight favorites. OG are slight favorites, but I do like the Heretics side more. I think they are the better team. Those top 3 guys with Maka, Navarra, Lucky. Again, Navarra, Lucky for their respective prices look pretty good. Furia and EG. Again, I know EG have been kind of had Furia's number. So maybe they're the more cash game plays. They are a little bit cheaper, Cirque Breeze. But again, personally, I think I like the Furia side a little bit better. And then C9, GenG, I think the C9 guys are more cash game plays. They've been playing well against GenG. GenG have really been struggling, so I think I like the C9 guys for cash games as well. Again, guys like Floppy, maybe MOTM. But yeah, for GPPs, again, I kind of told you guys, hinted at what I'm doing. I like the Fae side a little bit more. I like the Heretics side. I think Furia win against EG, and I like C9. So that's probably where I'm going to get my exposure. Now, as far as roster construction goes, it really kind of depends. If you think one team dominates, which is always possible, you could go for a three-man stack there, right? Like a three-man stack of Vitality, I think might have won the tournament today because RPK went off, Shocks had a really good day, then obviously Zywoo. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the winning lineup. I think it could have been. So if you think a team really dominates, you can definitely go a three-man stack. I think the a popular approach is probably like a 2-2-1-1 or a 2-2-2. But yeah, I think, if you think a game stays close, which all four of these are projected to stay close, you can definitely play players on both sides, right? So if you want to play Xantres, again, he looks really good for his price, maybe run it back with Nico. I think that's an interesting build. Or again, you can make an argument for really any of these teams, but that's a viable build for GPPs as well that not a lot of people like doing, is playing players on both sides of the game. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video. Again, subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell. We're closing in on 3.4 thousand subscribers. So thanks again. Hope you guys all have a good night, and I will see you all in the next video.